Hello everyone, my name is Michaela, Cinematic Stitches here on YouTube, and welcome to my channel, all about cross stitch. It's been 3 weeks, I'm back. Made it back on time. I hope you all have been doing very well. I'm not sure if anyone else is just as shocked as I am that it is past mid-September at this point. October's just around the corner. It's my favorite time of year, but yeah, I always find the summer goes by so fast and then September like zips. So here we are. It's technically Harvest, is it Harvest Moon Hangout? I think that's what it's called. Lindy Stitch's online retreat is this weekend. I do have a ticket. I was on this morning. Might be on later today, but I'll definitely be on tomorrow as well. I always love these events. But I had a gap to film, so I'm filming now. And yeah, I have some fun things to show you. So let's dive on in. Let's start with some finishes because I have one cross stitch finish and I have one FFO. And I'm very excited about the FFO. I'm going to show you that first. So I had mentioned in my last video that I was struggling to find a frame for my chopping maul. Pretty sure I talked about that. Basically, like, I couldn't really find anything that was big enough for it, and the stuff I could find was really expensive, and I didn't really feel like spending that much money. So I decided to make a quilted wall hanging out of this piece. And I finished it, and it looks so good. Brace yourself. Yes, doesn't that look good? I love this. Okay, so I do have to do some cleanup. I have like my bobbin ends kind of sticking out still, so I have to weave these threads in. But other than that, it's done. These are 3 fabrics from, I think, Ruby Star Society. I have a like a pack of a bunch of fat quarters from their Halloween line from like a few years ago, and I thought this was a perfect opportunity to use it. So I got these nice orange, like orange trim with eyeballs, some candy, some bats. And in the center is, of course, the chopping maul. In the back, I've got ghosts. I really enjoyed finishing this way. I will probably do this again with at least one other piece like that I have in mind right now that I think would look good like this. One thing that I should have known, but it's just a learning for later, is, you know, when I basted my fabric, I was like pinning it together. And for whatever reason, I decided just to pin kind of close to the areas I was sewing. I really should have pinned like actually in the center of the design, because what happened was I do have some bunching of fabric here and down here, so like kind of like the opposite diagonal ends. You can't tell like from the front, and that's all that matters. Like it's just, I'm like, oh, bit messier than what I would have liked, but that's fine. It's just a little nitpick, and it's a learning for later. But like, this was very easy actually, and a lot of fun. I just finished hand binding it last night. I wanted to do a hand bind so I wouldn't accidentally, like when I was stitching with the machine, like if I stitched it fully with the machine, I didn't want to accidentally have like some black thread throughout, like showing up on this. I wanted it to have like a nice clean look. So I hand bound it down, and yeah, I think this looks really, really good. Like, I love it. So I do want to add like little, just like kind of little fabric loops at the top here to run a dowel through it. And then, yeah, I'll just hang it up on my wall. But that is an FFO. So I can cross that off my, my Whipgo board, which is mostly FFOs this year. I am like a little behind on where I wanted to be, but I have been finishing things, been feeling good about it, and I really love how this turned out. It was a lot of fun to do. So there's that. And then I have a cross stitch finish. It's a really small one. It is the May Stitch for Pride 2025 Stitch Along release. And this is a motif that was made to represent Chevalier d'Eon. And I stitched this with Harvest Moon. I think that's from the Gentle Art, but the thread's over here. I could just confirm. I had it left over from Beach Rat, and I was like, you know what? That would look cool for this. Yeah, it is. It is the Gentle Art. Barely anything left now, so love that. Yeah, it's stitched on like a mystery fabric that I got from the Witchy Stitcher in just a like random fabric box. I think it looks really nice. So I finished the first 5 Stitch for Pride motifs for this year. Ooh, that's upside down. They're all on this sheet. My plan is to like cut all these out and put them in a journal and then like just write down the learnings for each one beside it. So like I have like an easy reference for who all these are. I think I am gonna stop stitching the Stitch for Pride Stitch Along for the rest of this year and pick it up again next year. I have some other goals that I want to complete before I move back to that. So we're just gonna put that Stitch Along on pause for now and we'll return to it. Did I say who created that? That's from D's 20 Stitches. They're an absolutely fabulous designer. They're local to me. And yeah, I really, really love their work. And I had a lot of fun stitching these first 5 motifs and I'm excited to return to them in 2026. Okay. Let's talk about my whips. So I have a couple whips to show, actually more than a couple. So I'll just dive right in. First whip, not too much progress on this one from last time because it was a whip go call for Halloween at Hawkrun Hollow. And I believe I had completed like most of the days. For my last video. So this is maybe like a day of stitching. So Halloween at Hawkrun Hollow is of course a Carriage House samplings chart. It looks like this. I am on block 3 here. The last time you saw this, it would have looked like this. And now, it looks like this. I think like I was totally delusional in my last video. I'm like, I could finish that moon. I could not finish that moon. That moon is too big. What was I thinking? Still perhaps delusional enough to think that I can finish this block and maybe the next one before the end of the year. I don't think it's actually gonna happen, but okay, I'm trying to actually, okay, there we go. That's better. Sorry, I've left my window open so I can get some air and we're gonna be hearing some sounds. But that's okay. The world is alive out there. Okay, so what did I do? I stitched the words at the top, which if you look closely, you will notice quite the spacing error I made. I am still debating whether I fix this, but I don't think I'm gonna make that decision until I finish it, which is years from now, honestly. But I counted over way too far with this one, and I think it's because I added an extra little nubbin to the end. I was meant to be counting off this nubbin, but I added this one and then counted over, and somehow this still fit without ramming into the branch, but it's pretty close. So it's a little tight, but I actually don't think it looks that out of place, and this is going to be such a huge pattern that I'm like, am I really going to notice that? And I'm usually of the mindset that, like, you know, I fudge things. I don't fix them unless it's just like there's way too much mathing involved. Or it's like what am I trying to say? Not irreplaceable. You can't fix it is what I'm trying to say. I've definitely had that before with patterns where like I stitched them like way too low and then it just wouldn't fit in the area, so I did have to rip them out. But usually I'm of the opinion that you make your mark on a pattern, and you know, if it's a mistake, see if you can fudge it and make it work. Because usually I find that you usually can, and it's not going to be all that big of a deal. And I actually, you know what? This doesn't actually bother me that much that there's a gap here. But anyway, so I did the words, I finished the plants, and I started on the moon, and I put some like gray trim around his coat. I think that was the majority of the work I did. Yeah, so that block is looking really good. I think the moon and the lettering here, like this needs to be filled in. I think that might be it. Oh, and then the trees, these gaps in the trees also need to be filled in. So that will possibly take me all of the next call of this, and this is going to be, I don't know what's going to be called again, but I've decided I'm going to work on it again in October. So, because it's, you know, Halloween month. Of course I got to work on Halloween at Hawkrun Hollow. Facts. This is stitched with DMC. It's on a 32 count. I always forget the name of the linen. I used to have it like right up there. It's I'm gonna have to look it up and just put it on the screen. I've said it so many times. It's like a mocha something, but I do know it's 32 count because oh my god, so big. Anyway, so whatever, you will have read the fabric on the screen at some point. I really love this project. When I started it in my head, I'm like, I'll finish that by the time I'm 40. I don't think that's gonna happen. I'm 38 and a half. I don't think I'm gonna be finishing that in a year and a half. I just don't see it. I don't see it occurring, you know? But we'll just keep slowly trudging towards that goal. It'll be finished one day. And I'll be able to display. It'll be a year-round display. Okay, so let's talk about my other whips. So it's September, meaning I got to stitch Sampler September. So I have a couple projects for the month that I like to bring out, and two of which are maximum cross stitch. So this first one was September's Revenge. This was an Evertote release. I believe it was 2 years ago. I picked this up as a kit. So I believe like I got a bag with it. I got the pattern and all the Roxy Floss Co. thread, and then I just had to provide my own fabric, which I had a fabric from Roxy Floss Co. called Panettone, and that's what I used. So I have not touched this project, I think, since last year. So the last time you saw it, it would have looked like this. And now we look like this. I struggled with this time around. So really the only new thing here is this flower. And I really wanted to finish that flower and hopefully do other stuff, but I couldn't do it. And I'm gonna show you why. I'm gonna show you just a tiny portion of the pattern so you can kind of understand my struggles, and or maybe you'll look at it and be like, how are you struggling with that? The symbols for the colors here, I had a really hard time differentiating them. And my printer's kind of busted, so I couldn't, like, while I was working on it, I wasn't able to, like, you know, Mirabilias, I like to I'm working on a Mirabilia. I'd like to scan that and like print it out like bigger and then mark it off. Because usually I don't mark my patterns, like my physical patterns. I'm able to just read them and move along, and I don't need to do any marking. I don't like to mark, and if I do need to mark, I don't want to do it directly on the pattern. I think it would have helped me if I could have printed this off, but even then, here, let me just show you. So this is kind of what I was dealing with. Here, I'm just gonna show you like a little piece of the pattern. There's 3s and 4s in there, and those are different colors, obviously. They're different symbols. But the 3 and the 4 to my eyes, like this is a very obvious symbol. I could see that, no problem. But the 3s and 4s did not stand out enough to my eyes. And I kept making mistakes. And I know I say like, you know, I'm a fudger. I'm fine with fudging things, but there's something about when you continually mess up, it drove me insane. And like there are like mistakes in this flower that I've just like figured out, but it was driving me like totally wild. And some mistakes I didn't even realize I had made until later. And then I had to go back in and sort of like doctor it to make it work. But that flower took a lot out of me and I just could not find the energy to fix it. Like I love maximum cross stitch patterns and that's the first issue I've ever had with them. Yeah, I think it's the only issue I've ever had. The 3 and the 4 to me, like they look far too similar and like they're of the same like, would you call it the line weight is like the same. So it's not like one of them is a more bold symbol than the other. And at the end, like, you know, at the end of the workday, you're tired. I'm looking at it. I'm like, I'm going nuts looking at this. So I did not get as much done on September's Revenge as I wanted. But, you know, what are you going to do? Yeah, it was a tough one to read for me. And, yeah, I don't know. It's just very difficult for me to see the difference in that, but that's okay. That could just be a me problem. It might just be me. But anyway, let's just needless to say that we struggled, but I moved on to other things. And one of those other things was the Dark Queen of the Earth. Ooh, actually, I should take her out of the Q-snap so you can see. Because, sorry, this is Dark Queen of the Earth. It is by Autumn Lane Stitchery. I have been working on her for ages. She, I think, at this point is my second oldest pattern. I'm going to fully take her out of this snap here. Here, yeah, that'll do. So the last time you saw her, she looked like this. I think I had like been like, oh, I'm pretty sure I'm done her, what would it be, like her left arm? I was not done. I still had to do more vines and stuff. But I returned to her and now she looks like this. Oh boy. She is not, as you can see, she is not ironed. She is very large. But yeah, I finished this arm. So I added in another color on the vines. I added in this like thorn here. I finished her arm up here. I finished the chest and now I've moved on to the head. And I have the head recharted. Kat from Whittier Stitches was very kind and recharted the face for me. It looks awesome. And I'm so excited to start stitching it. But yeah, so there we are. This was one of my goals to finish this year, and I am unsure if I'm gonna make it, but I'm gonna get close. And that's good enough for me. Even if I get like, you know, even if it's just like beading and whatever that's left, like this has been like a lot of work this year. And it is looking really, really good. So yeah, there she is, my Dark Queen. I'm stitching this on Gilded Oak fabric from Under the Sea Fabrics, and that is one of the 2 possible called for fabrics for this pattern. It is stitched mostly with DMC and like there's 2 treasure braids in it. And I'm enjoying it, and I'm gonna be very happy when it's done, just because she's been hanging around for a while and I'm like, I want to work on some new things. So when she's done, I'm gonna be happy. Okay, let's move on to another sampler. Okay, so this is the Birdmen Cometh by Little Robin Designs. I love this pattern. It's so weird. Like the colors are totally crazy. There's weird bird people. I started this 2 years ago in the summer with Cam the Stitcher, and I don't think I've worked on it at all this year. So the last time you saw it, it would have looked like this. Did I work on it this year? No, I didn't. I did not work on it this year. So yes, last time you saw it, it would have looked like that. And now, ooh, let me just fold her down. Now, it looks like this. I'm feeling pretty happy with the progress I made. So I've only, like, these samplers, I've only been working on for a couple days at a time. So not a ton of time put into it, but I feel like I got a fair amount of stitches. So I finished this like house in the center here. Previously, I think I just had the green outline of the tree. So the house is in. I got to the edge of the pattern here with this bird person, and I added some clouds and filled in some of the white in the sky as well. And this is being stitched with DMC. So the called for floss is all like Weeks, Dye Works, Classic Color Works, that kind of stuff. I just decided to go with the DMC. I was not really at a point where I was buying fancy floss when I started this, and I think the DMC looks good, especially on this fabric, which is, I think it's just, is it called Rouge? It's by Mystic Fabrics. Yeah, Rouge. 32 count Rouge from Mystic Fabrics. I got it as part of the Fabric of the Month club that I used to belong to. This was like a 2023 Fabric of the Month. I think that looks really good. It's coming along. Okay, another maximum cross stitch sampler, one that I have a much easier time reading. The pattern, yeah, I'm not having a weird 3-4 related breakdown. And that pattern is There's Always Room. Looks like this. It's really beautiful. I started this for my birthday a couple years ago. Love it. I would love to have this finished next year. And the last time you saw it, it looked like this. I do believe I would have picked this up for my birthday this year because I do like to work on my birthday stitches. I say my birthday stitches. I'm pretty sure this is like my only birthday. No. You know what? Nightingale was a birthday start as well. I have 2 birthday starts since I started like stitching in earnest, you know? All right, let me just fold it down. So you saw where I was before, and I put a little more work into the house. And now, well, let me move this little guy. Now we are here. So yeah, again, just a couple more days work, but I feel like we've done pretty well. I finished in all the mortar, I suppose. That's what this would be, the gray here. And started filling in the windows. So this window's fully done. I've done, oh, there we go. You can see that better in that light. So I've done like the internal frame, and then I just need to do like the black inside. Yeah, so just a lot of work on the house. I likely won't be touching this again this year. I think the next time you see it would probably be February next year, potentially. But yeah, this is a great pattern. I'm stitching it on 36 count porcelain from Roxy Floss Co. And I'm also stitching it with all the called for Roxy Floss threads. And it looks so nice. I love it. Well, I say it's all Roxy Floss. There is like 1 or 2 DMC that are called for. I think this bird, like the blue in this bird, is a DMC. Yeah, it looks good. I love it. Okay. Am I on my last one? Oh, no, I have one more after this. Okay. Penultimate whip is Castle Homecoming. That is by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. Looks like this. I have this as like, this was one of my goal stitches for this year, and it's one that I'm gonna fall short on. It was one of 4 stitch alongs I picked at the top of the year to be like, you know, I'll pick this up 3 times during the year and finish a part each time. So the goal was like a part of a stitch along each month, basically. Castle Homecoming is just a very dense stitch, so we're not gonna get there. but you know what? That's okay because we got some progress anyway. So the last time you saw it, it looked like this. And now it looks like, oh, here, I'll show you the whole thing. And now it looks like this. It's really cute. Like, honestly, it's really, really cute. So I spent most of my time, well, all of my time working over here on this little troll. I think he's got to be a troll. He's under a bridge. He's fishing. And yeah, so I put in this tree, did the little troll, put whatever this is beside him, some mushrooms. And yeah, I had hoped to finish this whole area and like the grass there, but ran out of time that I had allotted for him, and I'm going to be moving on to something else, but I am pleased with how this went. There were a couple areas that I wanted to finish that I could not because I have a habit of like, okay, so I bought Castle Homecoming as a full kit. It came with all the thread. I have a habit of like pilfering thread from projects and putting them in other ones and being like, I'm only borrowing it temporarily, but then I forget to put it back. So I can't find $8.90 for the life of me. $8.90 is like this color here, the reeds, or the cattails, I think. These are cattails. Anyway, so there's supposed to be a leaf finished here and like dots on top of all the cattails. I don't know where the $8.90 is. I couldn't find it. So I just gave up on finishing that and worked with the colors I actually had. I think in December I'm gonna have to go through like all my projects, probably when I do my my Whip Parade, and just look at everything I have and figure out what thread is where and actually record it. I'm like okay at doing that, but I need to like do a refresh every year because stuff gets moved around. Okay, so as I mentioned, this was a kit that I purchased from Castle Home, pattern's called that, from Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery when they released this. So it's all DMC except for like, I think there are 2 fancy flosses. Can't remember what they are. One of them might be called like pixie dust or something. It's this, one of them's this magic thing here, and I don't think I've used the other one yet. Yeah, so it's mostly DMC, couple fancy floss, and then the fabric is a 32 count Valor from Picture This Plus. And it's a really nice color, actually. Good neutral. Okay. One more whip. One more whip. Okay. So this one, I'm going to be finishing this in just a couple days. And I'm really excited to finish it. It is the, oh my gosh. Okay, so I actually don't really have a cover photo because it didn't come with one because it was a mystery advent calendar. And I'm speaking, of course, I'm just trying to find the cover photo for this whole thing. Ah, there it is. This is what I'm stitching. The Nordic Holiday Countdown, which was a 2024 advent calendar stitch along from Evertote, Roxy Velasco, and Modern Folk Embroidery. It was a collaboration between all of them. I have stitched the 2023 holiday countdown. I am signed up for the 2025 one, so I really wanted to get 2024 one done before I receive the 2025 advent calendar. And because this is like kind of like a sampler, I figured let's just throw it in sampler September and we can get it done. So the last time you saw this, it looked like this. Very cute. I think like exactly halfway through it the last time you saw it. And now we're here. Sorry for the wrinkles. Looks like that. Ooh, yeah, we're almost done. I think I have like 3 more days left, maybe 4. Yeah, I think I have 4 packages left. Oh, there's the needle minder it comes with. Nice wooden needle minder, nice and light. Yeah, so as I said, it's an advent calendar. You get Roxy Velasco floss for the whole thing, and you get your fabric. So this is a 32 count, I think it's called Glacier. It's very nice. And yeah, this pattern is really, really cute. I love it. I love it. And it's gonna be done so soon and I'll have another finish. Ah! Really need the, like, I've been really needing the high of a finish, you know? Like, sometimes I'm fine just trucking along with whips, but it's kind of getting towards the end of the year, and I'm just like, I need a finish. I just need a finish. So I'm gonna get one, and it's gonna feel good. Okay, that's done. Those are my whips. I do technically have one more whip. It's a sewing whip, but I'm gonna show it to you real quick because it should be quick and easy. And then we'll talk about plans and haul, which I don't really have a lot of, but I do have one purchase that's gonna make my life a lot easier. Okay, so the sewing whip I wanted to show you is, of course, my Holland duffel from Center Street Quilts, which looks, it's like this pattern here. Excellent pattern. I love Center Street Quilts. Their patterns are great. I've made like little zippered pouches for my friends. It turned out really well. So last video, I was like, you know what? I can probably finish this duffel bag before my next Flosstube. That did not happen. But I did finish quilting the big panel. And in my last video, I also asked people if they thought what I was using was a directional fabric. Yeah, it's directional. I stared at it long enough. Here's the thing, it's like 3/4 dimensional. Some things are flipped, like in a way where it's kind of all topsy-turvy, but enough things are upside down the whole way through that I figured, because you make like you have a huge panel and then you fold it up to make the bag. And I thought it would look right on one side and kind of wrong on the other if I didn't flip the fabric. So I cut the fabric in half, put them together, sewed them together. So now, you know, now it's gonna look correct. And here is, I'm just gonna show you just a massive quilted panel. But you know, it's a whip, it's a sewing whip, right? So there's my quilting. Just did a diamond pattern. The inside fabric is French fries. The outside fabric is this fast food pattern, which I absolutely adore. You can see where I've cut it down the center there. But it'll be, I think it's what I needed to do. And I'm happy I did it, because I think in my last video, I'm like, I'm just gonna go with it. But then I just kept staring at it and I'm like, oh, if I don't fix it now and I start sewing it and then I change my mind, I'm gonna lose it. And I don't wanna lose it. So yeah, this is the pattern. It looks absolutely incredible. I'm obsessed with it and I can't wait to make this into a gym bag and bring it with me to the gym. But yeah, I just wanted to show that as an update. Yes, it is a mostly directional pattern and I fixed it. So no worries there. But yeah, quilting's done. Yeah, really all I need to do now, well, I have a lot to do. I have to do the construction, but I need to, the next thing on my list is sewing in all the bobbin ends, because, you know, I bring my bobbin thread up through the center and now I need to weave all this in, which is extremely tedious. I finished quilting this not too long ago and then just like, it's such a tedious task. It's not hard, but I would rather be doing something more fun like stitching when I'm sitting in front of the TV rather than like tying knots and then sewing pieces of thread into a fabric. Like it's not a good time for me. But you know what? We'll get through it. We'll construct the bag and it's gonna look great. And hopefully I'll show it to you next Flosstube. We'll see. I feel like 3 more weeks, especially now that this little finish is done. I should be able to just kick my own ass and finish this. But yeah, so anyway, I'm just obsessed with this fabric. I love it. I love it. Okay, that's that. Since we're still on sewing, I'll show you my haul. It's one thing, but I think it's gonna change my life. And it is the Stripology extra large ruler. I have seen Elizabeth Ann can stitch use this, and I decided to just go for it and get it because cutting is perhaps my least favorite part of any sewing project. It's literally what stops me from starting projects is the thought of having to cut things because, you know, I need to get a bigger cutting mat too. That's another thing on my list. But I have a small cutting mat and one ruler, and it's not a really grippy ruler, and anyway, it takes so long and I don't love it. This ruler is gonna save me so much time because you can see each individual line has like a strip cut through it. So you can just put your rotary blade here and go shwip. So you can like cut so many strips for quilts, cut squares. Like I think it's gonna be a game changer. So I'm happy to have it. Thank you, Elizabeth Ann, for talking this up. She's spoken about it on a few of her videos, but she was talking about it in a recent quilting video she made as well. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get one of those. And I'm happy I did. I've yet to use it, but once I'm done weaving in the bobbin ends here, I am gonna need to cut this down to the correct size. And I'm gonna use that Stripology ruler, and it's gonna make my life so much easier. Hopefully. I'll report back if it doesn't, but every like review I've seen of this ruler is people are like, if you do any amount of quilting, like it's so worth it. So I'm happy I got it. Okay, so let's talk about my plans. So as I mentioned, I do want to finish this being the Nordic holiday countdown. I'm only gonna be like I said, there's only 4 packages left. I'm gonna be able to finish it like by the end of this week. And then I'll have a finish. So I got that. I am also going to be working on No Time Like the Present, which is a modern folk embroidery pattern. Looks like this. And this is like, it's a whip go call for this month. So I'm gonna work on it before the end of September. So actually, most of my plans are going to be revolving around the upcoming Survivor season, because the channel Make Things with String. I think it's Make Things with String. Oh my goodness. Let me double check. I have my iPad right here. Pardon me. Making Things with String. I will tag them below. They have come up with a game to play, like a stitching themed game around the new Survivor season. And I personally am not a huge fan of Survivor. I think it's fine. It's just not my it's not the reality, like the type of reality show I go to. But my husband loves Survivor. Survivor is in our house constantly. Like, he owns so many of the old seasons. He watches, it's like ultimate comfort TV for him. He's watching them constantly, and he always watches the new seasons. And I've started I've never sat down and watched a full Survivor season, like back to front, front to back, any direction. I haven't done it. So I thought that with this game coming out and he's so into it, it might be fun to just actually watch the whole season with him and stitch around that. So if you're curious about the rules of the game, they're kind of like, it's sort of, I think they were inspired by Jessie Marie, who has come up with I think she's done both Big Brother and Great British Bake Off stitching games. So it's all based around like the contestants and what happens with them. Like, you assign a whip to each one. So for the Survivor stitching game, you can either at the very beginning, assign a project per person, or pre-merge, because at some point, like there's a bunch of tribes in Survivor, and at some point halfway through the season they merge into one. So pre-merge, you'll have your 3 tribes. You can select 3 works in progress that you have that you want to assign to each tribe, and then based on what happens to that tribe, you stitch a certain amount of stitches into that project. So the 3 projects, I'm going for it. I'm going to stitch it, per tribe up until merge. And then once merge happens, I'm going to be assigning different whips to different contestants. So we can talk about that later once the merge actually happens. But to start, there are 3 tribes in Survivor. I have selected 3 works in progress that are going to be getting my focus. And since Survivor starts this coming week, it's going to take me, I think the merge isn't probably won't happen until the very end of October, maybe very beginning of November. So I thought that was a good opportunity maybe to throw some Halloween pieces in. So what I've got is I want to have one tribe assigned to my Dark Queen of the Earth Whip because I really want to get more progress on that. I want to get her as close to finished as I can, and Dark Queen for me really goes well with the October kind of Halloween vibe thing that I want to go for this month or next month. The second work in progress I'm assigning to a tribe is going to be Monster House by Satsuma Street. This pattern here. This is another one of my stitch-alongs that I was trying to get like a couple parts done this year. So far I've stitched just one part, so we will see what happens, how much I'll get done working with this like survivor game method. But hopefully we can get quite a few stitches into that. And then the third work in progress I selected for the third tribe is going to be All Tricks, No Treats? I think that's what it's called. If it's not called that, I'll put it on the bottom. It's a Witchy Stitcher pattern. It looks like this. I have the smallest, most pathetic start on this. Like, I started this 2 years ago and I've barely worked on it. So I thought this is a really good opportunity to get quite a few stitches into this because it's really cute. It's not very big, so I don't understand like why I haven't worked more on it. So I thought this game is a really good opportunity to like get a lot of progress on like two bigger projects I have, one of which I want to finish this year. We'll see if that happens. That's Dark Queen. Monster House, which I want to get, you know, at least one more part done. And then All Tricks, No Treats from the Witchy Stitcher, because it's small and my start is pretty small and I just want more progress on it. So that's going to be like my main, I think that's going to take up the main like chunk of my stitching time, is working on these like survivor game, stitchy game goals. So I'll link their channel below. They have all the information there on like how to participate and what you need to do. And I think it's going to be fun. So I'm excited for that. And the only other thing I have planned, other than like finishing the advent calendar or starting survivor stitching, is I do plan on having a number of starts in October. I like having a bunch of like small Halloween starts that I can hopefully finish like within the month, or at least by the end of the year. So I do plan on doing that. I haven't selected the patterns yet, but I will likely have a selection I can show you next video, and I maybe have already started one or two at that point, and I can show you then. Okay, so that's it. That's all the stitching news I have for you. I will talk about what I've been reading, watching, and playing. But if you were just here for stitching stuff, you're free to leave. If you're new here and you liked what you saw, please subscribe to the channel below. I post videos every 3 weeks, and yeah, that's that. Okay, let's talk about what I'm reading, watching, playing. So I actually finished a book. Good for me. I finished an audiobook. I am not super into audiobooks, which is silly because they're like the perfect thing to stitch to. But usually when I'm stitching, I'm like either watching something like a movie or a TV show with my husband, or I'm like watching Flosstube by myself. And I kind of go on and off with audiobooks. I found a book that I really liked and I finished it just a couple days ago, and that was called A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. And it is a lot of fun. It's like fantasy. The characters are young, but it's not young adult. I don't think I would consider this young adult, but it might be. I don't know. Anyway, it's a great fantasy novel. And it follows, okay, so it's about a world, well, a few worlds. There are 4 worlds, each with varying degrees of magic. And in each of those worlds is London, but it's a different type of London depending on where you are. There's Grey London, which is our world and has no magic. There's Red London, which is full of magic. White London, which is just like this murderous, cutthroat place where like the life is literally being drained out of people. And then there's Black London, which no one can get to anymore because basically it's the world was destroyed by some dark magic, essentially. And the story follows two characters, one of whom is kind of like a court mage. And he's like the only type of magician. He's not really a magician. What did they call him? He's like an Antari or something. So basically he's like a world traveler. He's able to traverse the space between worlds. Regular people can't do that. Like only Antari can, and there's very few of them. Very few left. There's not a lot of them left, is what I'm trying to say. And he gets himself in a little bit of trouble hopping between worlds. He finds a piece of Black London, which is extremely dangerous, and it leads to this whole kerfuffle, essentially. And in his travels, he meets a human girl named Delilah Bard in Grey London, and she tags along with him on this adventure. Essentially, she's just like this cutthroat little thief. So I really liked this book. I thought it was a lot of fun. The world building was great. Characters were interesting, and it is the first in a trilogy. So I currently have the other two books on hold, and I'm excited to listen to those. So if you like it, I wouldn't call it like a light read or anything. It's not like a cozy fantasy. It's exciting. There's like murder and conspiracy and, yeah, a lot of magic fights. So yeah, I really liked it. This is the first V.E. Schwab novel I've read. I actually own one of her books. What is it called? Something Addie LaRue or something like that. Anyway, I can't remember what it's called. But I own one of her books. I haven't read it yet, though. And now that I've read this, I'm more inclined to pick that book up sooner rather than later because I really enjoyed the writing in this. So yeah, that's the one book I've read. And what else? What have I been watching? I have been watching some movies, so I am getting ready for October. Like for me, I watch horror year round, but I kind of pick it up a little more in the fall. I saw Weapons by Zach Krager. Is that his last name? I can't remember, which I didn't realize this, but he was in The Whitest Kids You Know, which is an old sketch comedy group that I used to watch in the early days of the internet. I don't say that. It's not really the early days of the internet, but it was like the early 2000s. Kind of when, you know, internet video was more exploding. I should say that. But anyway, I had no idea he was in that comedy group. So that's interesting. And it makes sense why his movies are so funny. Because I really liked Barbarian. That was like a big surprise for me because I have never... Like, I had heard it was good when I first watched it, but I didn't know what it was about. And it really took me by surprise. It's so if you haven't seen Barbarian, I suggest that. It's very funny. His new one, Weapons, I don't know if it's better, but it's like definitely equally as good. Really kind of plays with your expectations. It's weirdly funny. Quite a dark story. Basically, it is about a class of elementary school children all get up one morning at like 2 a.m. and run out of their houses and disappear. And no one knows where they are, and no one knows what's happened. And, you know, everyone's playing the blame game. They blame the teacher of that class. And it's just really weird, like in a fun way. So the film takes, like, you see multiple people's perspectives in this film, and it's just really good. It is creepy. I would not call this like a scary, well, I don't know. It's very unsettling, and there are definitely some jump scares in it, but overall it's more like a creepy what the hell is happening kind of film, and the tension is broken up very well with comedic moments. So I really enjoyed Weapons. I mean it's been doing incredibly well, so you know, I'm not the first one to say it, but if you want to watch a kind of creepy, weird, funny Halloween movie to get into the spirit, check out Weapons. Okay, what else? Oh, what am I playing? Okay, I did finally pick up a new game. I started playing the blueprints. So I was sick a couple weeks ago, and I really didn't have a lot going on, like plans out the window. And I had the blueprints on PlayStation as like, it was like a free download, I think a couple months ago. And I got so hooked on this game. I think I put about 30 hours into it over like a week. And it is a fantastic puzzle game. It is a roguelike puzzle, and which is sort of like an interesting concept. So roguelike is essentially every time you play like a run, so say it's like a day in the game, the next day everything's reset. So basically what you're doing is the story of the game is you're a young boy and you are attempting to complete a bunch of tasks in order to like fulfill a will, essentially. And if you fulfill the tasks, then you get your inheritance. And your uncle, your rich uncle, has tasked you with finding the 46th room in his 45-roomed house. And so you go into this big mansion, and you are basically building rooms. There's like a big blueprint. Every time you open a door, you have a selection of 3 rooms you can build, and some rooms are dead ends and some lead to other rooms, essentially. And you're kind of playing with your resources constantly, like, oh, sometimes you can't open doors if you don't have keys. Sometimes you can't build certain rooms if you don't have enough gems, like things like that. It's like you're always trying to balance things. And it's a giant puzzle game because every room has a different type of puzzle in it. And I just got so hooked on it. It's like a pen and paper game in the sense that like you need a notebook with you to write down a lot of the stuff you're seeing, because something you see in one room like 5 days ago might be the solution for something you see like 5 days later, you know? And you won't know that unless you've written it down. So I think it's a very clever design. It makes you feel really smart when you crack things, and it's very addicting because I would be like, oh, you know, I finished a day in the game. Like when you have a certain amount of steps you can take, and once you've run out of steps, you have to go to sleep. And like when you go to sleep, you wake up, your whole house has to be rebuilt all over again, and you get a different set of rooms every time you build the house. And I'd be like, oh, I'm done a day. Okay, I'll stop playing. I'll go do something else. And I'd go to do something else, and I'd just be like, no, you know what I actually want to do? I want to go back and play the blueprints. So I was just playing that continually. So yeah, I highly recommend the blueprints. If you like puzzle games, it might not be for everybody, because it is, you know, sometimes you're just wandering around and it's like, I don't even know what I'm doing. But you figure it out eventually, and when you do, you feel very clever. So blueprints, thumbs up for me. Okay. That's it. That's the show. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you again in 3 weeks. Okay, everybody. Bye.